Hi folks, welcome to the weekend. I hope you've had a great week and that you've been busy reading some top-notch science fiction. Talking of which, what have I been reading this week? I finished The Demolished Man on audiobook last weekend. Alfred asks the question, what would society be like if extrasensory perception was a thing? What if you could read another's mind, know their intentions, their motivations, and what if only some people have this gift, and what if some of them are cops? This is the 24th century world that Alfred Bester imagines in what was his debut novel. Ben Reach is a wealthy industrialist, the boss of Monarch Utilities and Resources, and Reach is troubled by nightmares of the man with no face, and no amount of visits to shrinks can untrouble him. Reach is locked in corporate battle with Craig Courtney, and a merger offer is rejected, or so it seems, triggering Reach into murderous plans. But how do you commit a murder when people can literally read your mind? And how do you conceal your intentions, and how, if you manage to do the murder, do you get off scot-free afterwards? Reach has this sussed, or thinks he does. Best laid plans and all that. Things go wrong, there's a witness. The final half-ish of the book is a cat and mouse game between Reach and straight-laced Esper cop Lincoln Powell. The Demolished Man was one of the first science fiction books that I ever read, and it was fun to revisit it now 40 odd years later. The story moves along pretty briskly, and Bester does a great job painting a picture, I think, of how an Esper enabled society might work, and his vision of the future is also just fun. There's a 10 o'clock rocket to Venus, for example, but the computers are still rooms full of machines, and there's still a punch card input and tape output. Throughout the book, there's mention of demolition as a punishment, hence the title The Demolished Man, which seems to be widely threatened and feared, and it's intriguing. It's only towards the end of the book that we find out what that really is. I think it's a pretty impressive debut novel, and it's noteworthy for winning the first ever Hugo Award in 1953. During the week, I finished Demon in White by Christopher Ruocchio, which is the third book in the Sun Eater series. This is a chunky book, it's 750 pages, but I found myself wishing it was longer. Certainly I'd have been quite happy to continue to read. I really enjoyed being back in this universe. For the uninitiated or the Luddites among you that won't touch a book unless it was published before, well, I don't know, 1980, I continue to heartily recommend these books. If you like a widescreen epic space opera, and if relentlessly alien aliens, well-drawn characters, a complex, deep history, breathtaking close-quarter battle scenes, alien relics, a flawed but interesting protagonist, and a lush prose style float your boat, then these are the books for you. Ruocchio is busy writing the 7th and final book in the series now. Anyway, back to Demon in White. We rejoin Adrian Marlowe and his Red Company in orbit around Forum, the seat of imperial power in the Solent Empire. After his victories in the previous book, he's equal parts fated and envied by the great and the good of the Empire. The Emperor has plans for his latest Victorian night, and Adrian and company are sent off on a mission with little chance of success. At best, a wild goose chase, and at worst, a death trap, a no-win situation. To add to the fun, Adrian is asked to take one of the Emperor's sons, Alexander, with him. Another risk factor Adrian can do without. This high-stakes mission is to track down a Legion battle group lost in space and presumed attacked by the Cielcin, the aliens of the peace. In the process of recovering these lost legions, there's an extended hand-to-hand battle scene in this section which really takes your breath away. Marlowe returns to glory and the highest honours, including potentially the hand of the Emperor's daughter in marriage. The nest of snakes that is the Emperor's court doesn't appreciate Hadrian's meteoric rise, and someone wants him dead and tries repeatedly to make it so. Anyway, enough of me trying to outline the plot. In any case, that only covers the first quarter or so of the book. I really like the depth of these books, the tantalising glimpses of deep history, and I enjoy the political machinations and the obvious borrowings from empires of old Earth, including the British Empire. It tickles my fancy to imagine some scion of the British royal family being at the head of efforts to vanquish the Americani and their runaway robots and AIs. I really like the relationship between Hadrian and Valka, by now his long-standing paramour, a relationship of equals. She more than holds her own. I also continue to enjoy the narrative style of these books. It's told from the future by Adrian Marlowe as an old man writing his memoirs, and we know how the story ends because it's telegraphed clearly on page 1 of book 1. Marlowe ends the war with the Cielcin by causing a sun to go nova, taking all the remaining Cielcin with it, and a decent chunk of the imperial family with them, including the Emperor himself. The entire series then is filling out that story, and I'm all in, very happy to go along for the ride. I loved it, and I'm looking forward to the next instalment. In related news, I'm hoping to have a chat with the author Christopher Ruocchio in the next week or two, and I will try not to gush too much fanboy fashion. Having finished The Demolished Man on audiobook, I picked up House of Suns by Alastair Reynolds next on audio. I'm about a third of the way in. It's a reread for me, but I'm finding that I don't remember much of anything about it, so it might as well be first time around. So far so good. I'm enjoying the scale of the story, the long time spans, the casual way the protagonists talk of making laps of the galaxy with civilizations rising and falling whilst they do it. And I'm looking forward to finishing it. In physical book, I'm almost halfway into Alien Clay by Adrian Tchaikovsky, and I'm enjoying it, but it's not yet blowing my socks off. There's more than a hint of Cage of Souls in it, a book of his that I've read only recently, although the context is quite different. More on both of those next week, assuming that I've even finished them by then. How was your reading week? Was there anything that you particularly recommend? Do let us know in the comments. It's always good to hear from you. Channel stuff next then. Subscribers are at 2,884, which is up a bumper 38 on last week, a pretty good week for me. And if you're one of those 38, or if you've just stumbled upon this channel for the first time, a big welcome to all of you. I'm John, this is SciFiScavenger, and I focus on reading, collecting and chatting about science fiction books, old and new. There's plenty to watch in the back catalogue, and you'll soon have more book recommendations than you know what to do with. Comment of the week this week was from Torsten Frank in response to my 1950s classics video. Firstly, he agreed in that he also disliked Sirens of Titan, and so we have that solidarity. And then he said that Starship Troopers had turned him into an actual honest-to-God anarchist, and then he went on to suggest a few more books from the 1950s. Thank you, Torsten, as always. And thank you to everyone that takes the time to comment on my videos. I do really appreciate it. On the channel this week was that look at some stone-cold classic science fiction from the 1950s that I've been threatening to make for quite a few weeks now. I really enjoyed researching this video, and I was pleased to find that I'd read most of the books that I ended up featuring. There's some genre-defining books in there and plenty more that I could have chosen, and so much so that there's a part 2 and maybe even a part 3 in the offing at some point over the next few weeks. That video has done pretty well, relatively speaking, and is currently sat at an all-time number 3 spot on my channel views chart, and I'm pretty pleased with that. Yesterday there was another look at some of your favourite cover art. There's some really fantastic covers in there, and thank you once again to those of you that sent in your favourites. I enjoyed looking at them and now cover a few for my own collection, so I'm going to be seeking them out. Just over the last couple of weeks I've dropped from 4 videos a week, including the weekly update, this video, to 3 videos a week, and I'm finding that a little bit less hectic and more manageable. There might be times when I can squeeze an extra one in, but I think that that's our new routine now, 3 videos a week. We'll skip the what did I watch section this week. I didn't really watch a whole lot. Must try harder. It's also been actually a bit of a slow week on the book buying front. I did visit my local charity bookshop last weekend and came away with a handful of books, including 1 or 2 that I was really happy to find. And I've also ordered 3 or 4 books from US dealers, which would ordinarily be ruinously expensive from a postage perspective, but I have a secret weapon. A friend is visiting the UK in a few weeks and will act as my book mule. I'm resisting the urge to order more. I don't want to abuse her baggage allowance too much. Looking ahead to the coming week, there will definitely be that June book haul video. That's in the can already. In that video, there's very little fat. I just show the books and move on, mostly. We'll see if that results in a better retention rate for that video. There's 48 books in that haul, and it's done in just over 20 minutes, so I think it's pretty efficient. I do love a good book haul, and I hope that you give it a watch. I'm busy working on another deep dive video, this time on the post-apocalyptic subgenre. That will be jam-packed with cheerful and uplifting books about the end of the world. Science fiction does enjoy inventing ways to kill us all off. That video should also land during the coming week, but it does depend a little bit how much time I get to spend on it this weekend. And that will probably be about it, but I might just possibly also have time to thrill you all with a video showing me wrapping some of my more collectible hardbacks in plastic wrap. Yeah, I know, right? You can hardly contain yourself. You're so excited. Reading wise, I will finish Alien Clay, and I may just about finish House of Suns, but perhaps not. There's still 9 and a bit hours of listening to do, and I don't have much on the running plan this coming week, because I have a race next Saturday. More on that next week. After Alien Clay, I will tackle my first William Gibson in short story form via Burning Chrome. I gather this is a good way to get your eye in with Gibson to adapt to his writing style. We shall see. And after that, I think I will read The Terraformers, a relatively new book, and if and only if I finish that during the week, then I'll also make a start on John Varley's Titan, a book that I've been looking forward to reading for a number of years. As always, thank you for watching. Have a fabulous weekend, and until next time, goodbye for now.